Meet us in the back row. It's so funny that like when I was an atheist and I thought I was so counterculture, I thought I was so edgy and so like, you know, Rage Against the Machine, damn the man, whatever. All of those bad behaviors, those ungodly behaviors are really as generic and hacky and mainstream as you can get. And really the most dangerous thing you could do is live like Jesus. And this idea that you're like some kind of punk rocker getting drunk and fucking whoever you want and like that's a way to like stick it to the man, when in reality it's the most basic, generic, you're gonna be hungover every day
absolutely
thing, where suddenly I'm like 40 and I'm like, geez, is the edgiest thing me getting married and having kids and living on a farm and loving people? Like, does that mean I'm a prepper now? Am I am I January 6th suddenly? Because like it's so wild to me. But also, I mean, man, even me and my girl were talking about gender roles that she's never played a feminine role. I've never really played a masculine role. She's had to provide for a bunch of deadbeat dudes. I've like been like feminine caretaker, you know, whatever. And, you know, the old version of me thought that just meant like some sexist dudes like, you do the dishes, I'm going to go bang my secretary, you know, or whatever.
Right.
And in reality, it's like, no, we're both actually working harder than ever. She's being stronger than ever. I feel like I'm stepping into being like a man for the first time. Like you're unlearning all of these things, but then when you start doing it God's way, it actually, you just go, this is so much simpler.
Oh my gosh,
it seems so basic, and we were complicating it literally just to hurt ourselves and hurt other people.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, following Jesus is the most countercultural thing you could ever do in all of humanity.
And again, remember, when I was growing up in the world I was in, it was the opposite. It was just like the majority of Americans are white Christian males who hate women, Muslims, black people, gay people, you know, blah, blah, blah. So the idea of, it wasn't until I started reading about Jesus that I go, that's revolutionary.
Right. Because what we call the Christian country was nothing more than Christian ideology that we got to nitpick at.
Right.
I choose this part of it, but not that part.
Where's the verse that says I can have a slave?
Right.
That one.
Right. And where's the verse that says you're supposed to treat your slave like your brother? Right under the fucking verse that you just read, that slaves are supposed to obey their masters. So this is how fucking lazy we are now.
Right.
Like that's bullshit. Like it's infuriating. The page of Philemon, we can't even call it a book.
By the way, it's not even lazy. It's jujitsu to avoid the truth. They're actually doing more work. They're doing more work to use the Bible to justify their bad behavior than being lazy. Lazy would be like a compliment. That's saying they don't have bad intentions.
Right. Oh my God, that ministered to my whole soul just now. That blessed my whole life.
There we go.
So think about it. The page of Philemon, right? Philemon, I like Philemon better.
Okay, cool.
But Paul writes a letter to Philemon.
Okay.
About a slave that ran away.
Yep.
Became a believer.
Okay.
And actually now needs to come back home. And Paul's like, hey, bro, I found your slave, but he's coming home a brother.
Right.
And you better treat him like one. Because let's not forget who you were.
Oof.
And I know who you were.
Right.
And don't make me remind me of who you are. It's one of the most boss, like heavy leaning letters you can ever write to somebody.
Yeah.
And the founding fathers were like, oh, that book.
Right. Yeah.
I don't need to read that letter.
Yeah.
Right? Godly principles. Let's not get into the nuances.
Right.
Right? Forget loving thy neighbor. We need this land.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're not going to strike a deal. We're going to give you some blankets.
Yeah.
Riddled with disease.
Yeah. like God would have wanted.
This is exactly how God wants us to do it. Only in America. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm not for bashing American.
No, me neither.
Bashing America, and I'm not for revising its history.
Right.
It's brutal. We get it. This is all you knew.
Yeah.
You protested. The king came over here and had to make that wish work.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure it was a rough go.
Yeah.
But you fucked up a lot of people along the way.
Yeah.
So let's just own all of that.
Yeah.
But let's not call that Jesus.
Right.
First of all, let's be reminded his name's Yeshua.
Yep. Yep.
That he's a Jew. He was born Jewish. He was raised Jewish. He spent his whole life Jewish. He died Jewish, rose Jewish, is coming back Jewish, and he ain't coming to America.
Right.
That was a movie that I aforementioned.
So
but
good.
he ain't coming to America. He's coming back to the same place that the disciples saw him leave from.
Right.
And that was not the freaking Capitol building.
Right. Right.
That was not DC.
Right.
That's not Georgia.
Right.
That's not South Carolina. It's not North Carolina. It's Jerusalem.
Yeah. Yeah.
On a very specific mountain in Jerusalem, right?
And you know, the in my life, obviously, feeling forgiven for the first time, feeling grace for the first time, you can. To me, when I criticize America, it's because I love America.
Yeah, me too.
And if we really wanted to use principles of Jesus for the bad things we have done, then we would utilize the forgiveness of Jesus.
That's exactly right.
The grace of Jesus.
That's exactly right.
And then we would try to get better.
That's exactly right.
And, you know, this is the problem, whether we're talking about relationships, whether we're talking about politicians, whether we're talking about, you know, whatever, people would so much rather falsely be right than do a little bit of work to have a happier marriage, to have a country that's more unified, to have, and those are the principles of Jesus. You want to be a Christian nation? Start forgiving people. You want to be a Christian nation? Start loving better.
Absolutely correct.
That's how we're a Christian nation.
Absolutely correct.
We really appreciate you guys. We want to give back to you like you give to us. Be part of the family, the Ohana, the group chat. Sign up for the newsletter, and we'll see you in the back row.